welcome to the Snug Harbor Community School. Special place here in Quincy, one of our 11 elementary schools. We have 5 middle schools, 2 high schools, an early childhood center, and soon to be a special learning center. So we have a great city with an incredible education system. We got great colleagues who work every day. Superintendent, the teachers do an incredible job. But also I want to thank our state officials who, this past year, for example, we had an increase in Chapter 70 money of $10 million to the city of Quincy, which was a huge boost to continue to provide great classroom sizes and all the programs needed. So we all know it all happens in the classroom, that interaction between the teacher and the student and all the staff that surround Superintendent Christopher used to call it surround care, all those people that come together for that chance for every child to succeed. So today I just have the good fortune of welcoming our Governor of the Commonwealth, Maura Healey, who has done an amazing job since she got sworn in this past January. This is not her first stop in Quincy. She's been here a number of times, as has the Lieutenant Governor, Kim Driscoll. They're truly engaged in all the issues. I'm so grateful for their leadership, and particularly on this issue. This is just remarkable. So welcome to our Governor, Her Excellency, Maura Healey.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. We are so happy to be here in Quincy. It is not our first time. You're absolutely right. And we're here today with the opportunity to celebrate a really wonderful thing. And I want to begin by thanking the mayor, the team here in the city, including Superintendent Mulvey and Principal Perfuto. Thank you for everything that you do. The teachers, the staff, the paras, everybody at Snug Harbor. We had the opportunity to come in and actually see the folks who were giving out the lunches to students, and we thank them for the work they do day in and day out. It's great. Members of the school committee, city council, thank you for welcoming us. And thank you to all who helped make it possible here today. We have some folks who've gotten special visas to come to this district. Our House Ways and Means Chairman, Aaron Michaelwitz, who really holds the checkbook. Thank you. We'll make sure. Representative Taki Chan, this is his district, of course. Representative Bruce Ayers, Senator John Keenan, and Representative Andy Vargas, who is here with us as well. We appreciate the work of both Representative Vargas and Senator Di Domenico on this particular issue. And also let me come back. Rob Leshin, he's the director of our Department of Elementary and Secondary Education Office of Food and Nutrition Programs, working alongside folks across the administration, and importantly folks outside the administration, including Project Bread. And Erin Mackler is here today with her team. We really appreciate their sustained advocacy on this issue, working hard day in and day out to end hunger for families, people across this state. And finally, this is a particularly special day in that we get to return to the site where Speaker Ron Mariano was a teacher here at Snug Harbor Elementary School. And it was great to be able to do this event with you. One, because of course this legislation happened because the legislature worked to make it happen, and this is something that was a particular priority, I know, for the speaker. But it gives us great delight to actually be here today in his old stomping grounds to to be able to celebrate something really big, and it is big. This is one of the really important things that we will look back on and be able to say we did this year. And we did it, a long time in the making, and so important, because today we're celebrating making free school lunch and breakfast permanent in Massachusetts. Permanent. And we do this because we know nothing is more important than making sure that our young people are well fed, looked after, have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to achieve, to do all the things that we want to see them do, just as they do here at Snug Elementary School. We're one of only 8 states to have taken this step, and I think it's another act of Massachusetts leadership. During the pandemic, of course, the federal government recognized that this was an important thing to be doing because so many family incomes were at risk. But that program ended, and with the end of that program, it gave us an opportunity to collectively step forward and make sure that this was happening so that never again would there be barriers to students' ability to access food, breakfast and lunch, what they need. And so this was one of the very first things that we worked on this year. So delighted. No more paperwork, no more debt, no more stress for parents, making sure that, kids are able to come in here and get what they need. And this goes along with some historic budget investments that have also been made. Grateful to the legislature for all they made happen in childcare and early education, putting us on a path to universal free pre-K. A 10% increase in Chapter 70 state funding for our local public schools, expanded pathways into college and career training for our high school students, lots of important and prioritized investments that we have made through this budget. And again, I want to thank the Speaker and the legislature for their partnership. This is Massachusetts values in action. And I want to thank the school staff, all our educators and folks out there working hard every day to make sure that our young people are well cared for. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you for welcoming us, Mayor. We now are going to hear from our speaker who was up all night preparing the American chop suey that those kids were eating back there in the gymnasium. Speaker Mariano.
Thank you, Governor. It is fitting that you have pasta the day that we're here. I thought that was very thoughtful, Mr. Superintendent, where I am. Thank you, Governor. This was an easy one for me. And I'm sweating. I'm standing up here sweating. This reminds me of the days in June when I hated to be on this link. There was no air. You could open all these windows and there's nothing. But anyway, I'll carry on, even though I start to drip all over my remarks, although I didn't write any. I did wanted to just say, I have a lot of great memories here. I made a lot of friends. Met a lot of kids coming through here who I still see around the city. And you're liable to see them anywhere. And of course, I still look young and vibrant. They have aged and are now adults. So I never know when I'm going to get hailed in the supermarket or chased down in the parking lot to rehash some event that happened in their academic career that involved me. Some of them pleasant, some of them not so pleasant. But all of them in the interest of making this a better place. And when we saw that it looked like the funding for lunch, the free lunch program was about to go under, Andy Vargas approached me with an amendment that he was going to stick to the budget, in the budget. And I asked him the question I ask everyone when they come in with an amendment: how much is this going to cost? And he had a rough number, a little under target, which I think might have been on purpose. So the next step was to go see the finance guy, Aaron. And the conversation we had was about everything but the money. I said, I'd really like to do this. I said, I can remember coming into this school and having kids put their head down on their desk at 8 o'clock because they were exhausted. And I'd ask, first question I asked, did you eat today? No. No, there was no one home. So they just come to school. And you learn pretty quickly through the observations of these kids that if they don't start out with something in the morning, you're not going to have them by lunchtime. You will lose them. And this has always been important to me. And that's why I thought the free lunch idea was a great idea. And when we had the opportunity to make it permanent, and Aaron in his, I don't know how he does it, but he moves the numbers around and all of a sudden we have money. And we had enough money for this. And I couldn't think of a better way to spend it than on a free lunch program. And if you go down there and talk to those kids, you'll realize how important it is, because they're all having a good time. They're all gnawing on apples. I don't know what it is. There seems to be an apple shortage, but these kids can't get enough apples. So I do think that it's something we all should be proud of. All the members here who voted for this, Senator Keenan, we're in the Senate. It wasn't as widely supported as it probably was in the House, but the senator stayed with us and made sure that the message was carried into the Senate. But I want to thank all the reps who are up here, who actually worked to make this a really good bill. And I look forward to, there'll be times when we're going to dig for the money. Make no mistake about it, it's not going to be easy every year. We don't get ARPA money every year, do we? But it will be a challenge to keep this commitment, but you have my word, and I'll even give the word to these guys who are going to be here after me, that we'll make it work. So with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the principal for hosting us. Wherever he went. Oh, there he is.
My pleasure.
You know, it was fun to come back. A little bit fun. It wasn't a knockdown ball. But I really did enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the kids. I forget how small kindergarten kids are. And how wise they are. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm going to introduce Chair Mikowitz, who put all this stuff together. So, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you for having us here today at Snug Harbor Community School. And yeah, I did get a visa to get here, so I can't believe there's traffic leaving the city in the middle of the day, as I said to some of the folks. But it's great to be here. And you know, the speaker did say how this was an easy one. It was an easy. It was a difficult budget process this year, but this was the easiest part of that difficult budget process was supporting this initiative and focusing on this initiative and making sure that we fought to get this over the finish line. And it's you know, not just the amount of kids that are going to be affected by this, but also the families in itself. The amount of money that they're going to save every day by the ability to have these school meals available to them is something that's, you know, not getting a ton of coverage or not a ton of press or whatnot, but certainly just as important as anything in terms of the folks that need this, you know, that are on the margins, and that something like this is actually going to help them stay over that or stay afloat. And so we're very proud and thankful of this. You know, when the federal government was deciding not to pick this up, I believe in 2022. You know, we were at a crossroads on these conversations, and we've had a lot of those crossroads conversations, you know, in terms of dealing with what's going on with the federal government. But in Massachusetts, we don't waver. You know, we don't cower. We stand up and we make sure that we take care of our citizens and our Commonwealth, and that is something that we're very proud of. I want to thank the members of the House for their unwavering commitment, particularly Representative Vargas and others that really you know, put this on the forefront continuously and made sure that we were focused, laser focused, whether it was through the budget process or actually making it permanent. I just want to also thank my colleagues in the Senate, particularly Chair Rodrick, who I have the pleasure of working with and trying to produce a budget with you know, the last 5 years. And you know, one thing that we've been dealing with, or one thing that has been really a priority of not just the House and the Senate, but also, you know, the legislature, I mean, not just the legislature, but also the governor, has been, you know, the discussion about education equity. And, you know, nothing's more education equity than making sure that every student has an opportunity to go to school with feeling good and feeling, you know, refreshed and having a full belly. And so, you know, when we talk about like the Student Opportunity Act and the things that are important related to that and pumping more money into Chapter 70, you know, those are very important things, and those are obviously, you know, critical discussions, but this is just as much a critical discussion in terms of that, making sure that every student has, you know, gets at the starting gate in the right way. And so we're very proud of that. We're very proud of this accomplishment today. And I lastly just want to thank the Speaker. It is nice to come back to a school to see him in his other elements, as I get to see him as our boss and our leader in the House, but get to see him in his other elements is fun as well. And but more importantly, he has been such an unwavering leader on this issue and many others for us. And so we're very proud to support him in this initiative, and very proud to have him as our speaker. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, for everything that you continue to do for all of us in the House. And lastly, also the governor. I want to thank the governor for her continuing support and everything that she's been doing in working with us, in the last couple months, particularly here. And so thank you for having me again. And I'm going to turn it over to a woman that was very instrumental in making this possible, not just because she knocked on our door every day and made sure that we were sticking this in the budget, but Erin McAleer from Project Bread has been a true partner in this initiative and many others. So we want to give her a round of applause. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you. I'm so proud to be here alongside Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Speaker Mariano, Chairman Mike Lewitz, Mayor Koch, and members of the school committee, as well as Senator Keenan, Representative Vargas, Representative Chan, Representative Ayers, and of course, thank you to Superintendent Mulvey and the Quincy Public Schools for hosting us today. No child will sit in a Massachusetts classroom hungry ever again. Ever again. For too many years, the school meal system was broken, and I'm going a little off script here, but it was broken almost 40 years ago when I was in elementary school. I was raised by a single mom, and she constantly stressed about putting food on the table, and we couldn't afford school meals. And so when I think about what's been accomplished, I think about my mom and the many parents out there who no longer have this worry for them. And it was actually only days after my mother passed away that the Feed Kids campaign was launched. And we envisioned a new system that ensured equitable access to school meals for every single student in Massachusetts, regardless of their circumstances outside of school. I want to give a huge thank you to Representative Vargas and Senator DiDomenico, who filed this late legislation when it seemed really big and bold, and could this actually get done? And they always knew it was the right thing to do, and they stuck their neck out and advocated every single day. And we quickly garnered the support of over half of the legislature, including bipartisan support for this initiative. We convened students, parents, school professionals, social justice advocates, healthcare workers, houses of worship, and more. Over 130 organizations joined the coalition, and more than 5,000 advocates sent over 23,000 messages to legislators to voice their overwhelming support for this program. With school meals for all permanent in our state, Project Bread will continue to support schools in the years and months ahead. Our School Food Fellowship, which we operate here in the city of Quincy, in the Quincy School District, allows school nutrition directors to refine their skills and gives them the tools to provide healthy and appealing meals for kids. We will continue to share delicious, kid-tested recipes across districts and provide resources to schools and families to ensure that school meal participation remains high and more children can access the nutritious benefits available to them at no cost. As has already been mentioned, Massachusetts is a national leader on innovative systemic solutions to hunger. The success we're celebrating today is an incredible example of the change that can be made when we all come together around a common purpose, especially one as essential as eradicating hunger in our state. As we celebrate today, we know that we must keep up the momentum. We are feeding all kids at school. We're integrating food and nutrition supports into the healthcare system, and we're ensuring that food resources are accessible when and where and how individuals and families need them. And all those changes are being led by the experiences of the people in our state that have the lived expertise of food insecurity. Together, we can make the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, we will make the Commonwealth of Massachusetts the first state to solve hunger. And Project Bread is committed to driving that goal forward, building on the incredible success we're celebrating here today. So I am so grateful, and I know none of this could happen without the incredible leadership of those standing beside me, the leadership of Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, House Speaker Mariano, Senate President Spilka, and of course the leadership of the Ways and Means Committees and the Education Committees. I'll say it again, thank you to Representative Andy Vargas and Senator DiDomenico for spearheading this bill. Thank you to Desi and Rob Leshin for their partnership. Thank you to our organizational partners. And I think even most important, thank you to the thousands of advocates who spoke out and shared their stories and their passions. Together, we are improving the health and food insecurity of an entire generation of kids and generations of kids to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you for everything you do for the Quincy Public Schools. It's a great partnership, so we really appreciate it. It's an honor to be with you all here today to represent the Quincy Public Schools. I have so many people to thank today because of so many involved in this important initiative. Of course, thank you to Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Speaker Mariano, Mayor Koch, the state legislative delegation, Commissioner Riley, city councilors, and school committee for all of your work in supporting the students and families in the Quincy Public Schools. We're all very grateful and proud to be one of the first states in the country to offer free breakfast and lunch to all students, an amazing feat. Free meals in schools put all children on the same playing field to learn and strive and thrive. Free meals end the stigma of lunch shaming or identifying students by their income status. We in Quincy believe in a supportive environment that promotes unity among students and families, and this program greatly assists with this critical mission. The lunchroom can now, without question, be a place for students to relax, regroup, and reset for the rest of the school day. This monumental change has given us the opportunity to end child hunger right here in our own community, which is amazing. The additional state funds will help us improve the overall quality and freshness of our meals, which is extremely important, and allow us to focus on buying locally and procure sustainable food and paper products. In Quincy, we have successfully increased the number of meals we serve to our students by 25% since the beginning of the free meals program, which is amazing. 25%. It's fantastic. On a lighter note, this great benefit reduces the morning stress of getting our children to school every day. Our amazing staff of nutrition and culinary experts can now lighten the load of our families by allowing them to forgo the need to prepare their lunch and their snacks for the day. So that's a great asset to our families as well. Lastly, I'd like to thank Assistant Superintendent Aaron Perkins, members of the Superintendent's Leadership Team, Principal Scott Perfettio and his team here at the Snug Harbor Community School, of course, our Food Service Director Sarah Dufour, and Snug Harbor cafeteria workers Kathy McGann and Robin Scanlon for all of the work that they tirelessly do every day to support our students and families. So thank you all very much, and thank you to everyone who made this day possible. Thank you.
Record this.
Terrible penmanship. All right, there it is. I mean, now it's really official, I think. Awesome. Yep.
Hi, well, first of all, as someone who grew up in Lowell and also benefited from reduced lunch, but it was still hard for my parents to even pay, I'd want to say thank you so much for passing that. I'm a reporter, but either way, gotta give thanks where it's good. So I know in Massachusetts, for a family of 4, I mean, they needed to make around $50,000, $52,000 to get that reduced lunch. But once again, that was even something that was hard or impossible for these families. How important is it also for those that were qualifying for reduced lunch?
Well, and I'll obviously welcome comments of others, but this is super important. I mean, it just should not be the case. We're Massachusetts. We're home to the first public school, first public library. We pride ourselves in education. We pride ourselves in access to health care, and we've always looked after and made investments in our young people, right? They're our future, they're our now. And so this is fundamental, and I'm just really grateful and proud of the team that came together to make this happen and deliver it up so that, as people have said, no child is walking into a school or leaving a school hungry. I mean, that's so important. And I think the point made, too, about the stress on parents, I was raised by a single mom. She had 5 of us. And it was not easy. And, you know, it was at a time when you had, you could go through a line, and there were kids that had a certain ticket, and there were kids that were able to just pay cash, and there were kids that brought their lunch. But it was very clear who fell into what category. And I think part of the effort here in recognizing the stigma, no child, life's hard enough, no child should bear the burden of stigma when it comes to something as fundamental as food, which is absolutely essential to their learning, to their growth.
One of the worst assignments you could have to come back to school in September is to start collecting the forms for reduced lunches. It was a paper nightmare where you turned into a full-time bookkeeper for the first couple of weeks of school before you could even determine who was going to eat lunch. So eliminating that was a big step in making the on-time teaching ability of teachers. It allows it to increase and allows them to get a better handle on organizing and getting to know their kids. So it's important in a lot of different ways. So.
And yeah, we are, for the first part of the question, there is certainly an increased demand on food pantries, but part of why we're here today is that, food pantries were really meant for emergency responses, right? For the impending storm that's coming this weekend that's going to result in an emergency response that's needed, not for the daily needs. And so that's why we need solutions like the one we're celebrating today. This is an example of a systemic solution to a systemic problem of food insecurity. And when it comes to summer, we do have an incredible program, Project Red partners with the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education on the Summer Eats program, which provides free meals for kids when school is out. Sites all over the state where families can go and pick up a meal, no questions asked, no identification required. We always need help raising awareness about that program. It's really important, so I appreciate you asking the question. And then next summer, there'll be the rollout of the Summer EBT program, which Congress passed last year, which will provide another support system for kids. So there's a huge commitment to feeding kids. I think you've heard it from everyone here today. There's programs in place. We have to make them accessible, effective, and we have to raise awareness about them so that families can access them. Today there's 500,000 kids across Massachusetts eating school lunch and not worried about the cost. So I would say all 500,000 kids across the state that now can have it with no stigma is the real number that is benefited from this program. The requirements themselves aren't changing. Those are the federal requirements that have been put in place. I will say this: it does improve the nutrition, and you heard it from the superintendent that it puts more money into the school system, which allows them to purchase locally sourced food. What the speaker shared is real, right? School nutrition directors are no longer bookkeepers or debt collectors, right? And so instead they're focusing on menu development and taste testing with kids. And so we are confident that the school meal quality will improve. And now that we know it's permanent, that gives, every year it's been, what's going to happen next year. Now they can just start planning for the next several years of new recipes and taste testing with kids and knowing participation is going to be high and that they'll have the revenue. And as I said, Project Bread will be a partner in continuing to support schools and in the School Food Fellowship and sharing recipes across different districts.
Last question.
Thanks, everybody. I also want to thank, the question about food security, of course it's real, and we saw an exacerbation of need, housing insecurity, food insecurity, everything through COVID, right? And we still live with some of the vestiges of that. One of the reasons, though, that we acted quickly, we saw it and the legislature came through big time, $20 million in relief for farms devastated weeks ago by floods in western and central Mass. Part of that story and why that action happened is because they were integral to food security networks, pantries, CSA, basic food security in different regions of the state. So, I know this is an issue that leaders are really focused on. We know how important food security is to the health and well-being of not only young people, but people around this state. And this was an important day for our Commonwealth because forevermore, no child will go hungry in school. Thank you all for coming.